Hello dear friends, my name is Keith Haswell and I'm a professional astrologer with 40 years experience in the business now and over 30,000 clients worldwide. It's my pleasure to welcome you, dear friend, to this particular video which I've called Accepting and Loving Self. Now this is all about fully accepting yourself and allowing yourself to be fully loved. There's just so much happening in the world today. It's just such exciting times we're living in. I've got over 150 YouTube videos up there now on all aspects of personal and spiritual growth. I've got close to 6,000 subscribers now to my videos. I want to speak to you. I want to say thanks to all of you for the support that you've shown, and there's so many of you who are just hungry for each new video that I put out, and your comments there on the videos are absolutely incredible, show that you really appreciate the videos that I'm producing. And I'm getting sometimes 20 subscribers in a day, so 150 subscribers a week, new subscribers to my video. So they're all saying that I want to know about every video that you release. So we're building up steam, and I just want to thank all of you for your comments and your communications with me to say that you're appreciating what I'm doing here. You already know a great deal about accepting yourself and being fully loved. You've already done so much of the hard work, and you are all ready perhaps to take that last little step, perhaps to shift focus and change your attention and to lift your intention. You are perhaps ready now to transform your image and to commence an action that will allow you to finally accept yourself and fully love yourself. To cross that invisible line to finally accept yourself and to fully love yourself. On this video, we are working together as a team to help you to finally accept yourself, and it is about being a present participle, being loved, continually expanding love. There are components, specific and particular components, that as you work with them, like ingredients, as you mix them, as you stir them, they produce a synergy, a whole that is greater than the sum of the parts. That synergy we can call accepting self and being fully loved. So that is where we begin this exciting journey of self-discovery, by looking at the components of this synergy that we have defined as fully accepting self and being fully loved. We begin this journey with the first component, and that, of course, is love. It seems so obvious, but in that assumption, it can quickly diminish through the law of entropy. Many of my videos speak of love and the components of love, but in repetition comes clarity, and that leads to understanding. Love, after all, is the energy that drives the universe. It's an underlying principle of love that is eternal, that is infinite, that can never know itself without putting a part of itself outside of itself to observe itself from a position of not infinite. And that first principle was the goddess. Now the goddess had no desire whatsoever to create reality alone, so she created God, and together they have created all that is. Itself a synergy, a whole that is greater than the sum of the parts. Love is not just an ushy-gushy feeling, but it involves very specific actions in order to produce very specific results. To love another person, it means to give, to respond, to respect, to know, to be intimate, close, tender, vulnerable. That commitment, that is the authenticity, and also to care. These actions, however, are not just willy-nilly, but each action is designed to produce specific and tangible results. One of these results or effects is security. Another is called pleasure. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these components because it has been covered in previous videos. We've got a lot of other stuff to cover here in this particular video about you fully accepting yourself and being fully loved. Another component is honesty, another component is trust. To give in such a way that makes your loved one feel secure. To give in such a way to produce pleasure. To give honesty and trust so that the recipient of your giving, whatever it is that you are giving, tangibly, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, produces that security, pleasure, and trust. It produces also a reduced fear of loss. The recipient of your giving, feeling the intimacy and the caring in what you give, they have a feeling of being known. One of the most powerful drives in our human psyche is to have the feeling of being known. To be able to say, when I am with you, I feel known and understood. Self-love are the exact same actions but to produce the same effects within yourself. To give to myself, to respond to myself. I respect and know myself. So I'm speaking quite often in the first person here, okay? Because it's speaking from within your heart. I am committed to me. I am intimate with myself and I care about me in such a way that I feel secure and pleasure. I feel the honesty and I feel the trust. I trust myself. I am not afraid of losing my self-identity. I know that I am known by myself. Not just by the limited self, but the self that includes the subconscious, soul and spirit, future self and higher self. What is also involved in the definition of love is to rejoice in the presence, reaffirming value, and to allow the presence and the value of our love together, and for that love to grow, to evolve, and to change. That is what love is. When you love another, it is to rejoice in their presence. That when I am with them, I reconnect to the joy. To go back to, Joyce. To go back to the joy. I connect to the joy of their presence. Those of you who are in love with that significant other, having that companionship, partner, comrade, you feel that rejoicing in their presence. You reaffirm their value to allow that feeling to grow, to evolve, to expand, and to change. That is love. But it is important to allow that freedom, to allow them to evolve, to expand, and to change. The only thing that's constant in the universe is change. Self-love is rejoicing in your own presence, reaffirming your value. Here I am, not a child, not an adolescent, not a negative ego, but an adult and becoming a spiritual adult. Here I am, as much of me as I know of myself, and I rejoice in my presence. I rejoice in my resonance and my impact, the difference that I make. I rejoice in my presence, reaffirming my value, allowing my presence and my value to grow, evolve, and to change. That is love, love of self. How do I know that I love you? Because of my giving, my responding, my respecting, etc. produces certain tangible results, and because I rejoice in your presence, I reaffirm the value of our love. That rejoicing, that presence, that reaffirming value, and that value is ever increasing and changing. But you say to yourself, I go home after a hard day's work and sometimes I don't feel like rejoicing. Does that mean that I'm not a loving person? No, no, no. It's just that you have a faulty belief that if I act in an angry way, I am an angry person. That is a faulty belief. That you sometimes act in an unloving way doesn't mean that you are an unloving person. It just means that in that moment and at that time, out of fear, martyr, self-pity, or control, you are not rejoicing. Because rejoicing and martyr don't go together. Rejoicing and control do not fit. Rejoicing and self-pity are mutually exclusive. These states of being, martyr, fear, pity, and control, perhaps speak about your self-image, but it doesn't mean that that image is true. Love is also an experience. It is experiencing the goodness, truth, and beauty of another, or the goodness, truth, and beauty of yourself. When I am with this significant other, be it my future self, my higher self, my soul and spirit, and God, Goddess, all that is, be it a physical person in my life with whom I live, or with someone that I love that is not a sexual and physical relationship, with physical intimacy, I experience their worth, their goodness, their truth, and their beauty. My experience is beyond the definition of words. That experience brings me greater joy and happiness. Not envy or jealousy, but joyousness in our union. Likewise, with loving yourself, you experience your goodness, truth, and beauty. So what else is love? It is allowing freedom, allowing self-determination in the other, but also in yourself. This one that I love, I allow them to be free. But won't they go away? No. You do not have to put them in a cage. You do not have to control or dominate. I can let them be free to explore, to discover, to become more of who they really are. All that you want to be, all that you can imagine yourself being, to become more self-determined, In that process, you grant yourself the freedom of self-determination. The differentiation between us, we then reintegrate back into the relationship. The freer I become, the freer you become. The freer you become, the freer I become. The more differentiation that we can then reintegrate back into the relationship. That is what love is. Likewise, when you love yourself, you allow yourself the freedom of self-determination. But you do not abandon yourself to the whims and fancies of the shadow self or the negative ego. To love yourself means that you truly want the best for yourself. To allow yourself the freedom to develop self-determination and the inspiration to be all that you can be and more. You integrate those many faces and differentiations of yourself back into the relationship with yourself. Your future self, your higher self, soul and spirit, that's what love is. The second component of finally accepting self and being fully loved is gratitude. Being grateful. Gratitude. That incredible force that is born out of compassion and intimacy. That gives birth to beauty and to joy. It grows into lasting success and never-ending happiness. Gratitude. The more you feel it, the more reason that you have to feel it. That is its nature. Gratitude is a spontaneous celebration of love, joy, and compassion. Compassion is the caring that is born of sorrow. Not that you have to have a specific sorrow, but if you have known sorrow, and all of you have known sorrow, you are therefore capable of compassion, the caring that is born of sorrow. Gratitude is a spontaneous celebration of love, joy, fulfilling your preferences beyond your needs, compassion, vulnerability. That means owning your weaknesses as a part of you, the fire of passion, spontaneous thankfulness and surrender. Surrender of your darkness and surrender of your failures. To be able to have gratitude for the wisdom that comes from failure. Those components are what gratitude is. And ultimately, gratitude to God, Goddess, all that is, for the wonderful gift of eternal life and their unconditional love. Gratitude is the second component and ingredient of fully accepting self and being fully loved. The third component, the third ingredient, is pleasure. A lot of you have been conditioned to deny pleasure. No, you're not allowed to have pleasure. You're spiritual. But not just pleasure. It must be pleasure that lifts to enjoyment and to the synergy that lies beyond enjoyment. Pleasure can become an addiction to sex, to drugs, to alcohol, to overeating, or an abusive diet. Many of these things that become your pleasures can get you through the day and to the status quo, but unless they lift to enjoyment and take you beyond the status quo, they become an addiction that can ultimately consume you. Enjoyment is something that challenges you. Enjoyment is something that stretches you. It calls upon your skill. It stretches your strengths, your powers, your talents. That's what makes something an enjoyment. Well, that's as much as I want to say on this particular video, because to go into anything deeper here about further ingredients of love and further ingredients of being fully loved and fully accepting yourself is only going to stretch your focus and your concentration beyond that which you're capable of doing currently, okay? So where do you go from here? It's time for you to reach and stretch and become more of who you really are. It's time to get stuck into my CDs. I've got 12 CDs available from my website, from the free CD page, out of my first book, What Really Matters, a book on astrology, meditation and reincarnation. Get stuck into them. They're a structured, organised expansion of your consciousness about astrology, meditation and reincarnation, to prepare you for intensives 2 and 3 out of my second book, Coming Home, An Eternal Journey, where I look at things in a lot more depth: quantum physics, the holographic nature of reality, to take you into spiritual university. Order horoscopes numbers 1 and 2, and if you can afford it, get horoscope number 3 done by me, and then that includes in horoscope number 3 a personal reading by me with all of my experience as an astrologer, 40 years experience brought to bear upon your life, upon your challenges, upon your tests, upon the hurdles that you've set up for yourself in this particular lifetime, with beautiful backing music helping you to understand more about the tests that you've set for yourself in this incarnation, and the powers, strengths and talents that you bring over with you from past lives. You are no fool. You are a highly developed person spiritually. Start working on that image of yours through my CDs and my videos and my intensives. Subscribe to my videos because I'm putting out new ones all the time. I thank you so much for the opportunity to be of service to you here. Subscribe to my videos. Get stuck into my CDs. Order the horoscope that you can afford. Horoscope number 1 tells you about the cycles that you'll be going through over the next 30 months. Horoscope number 2 tells you about your in-depth analysis, 20 pages, all about you and what qualities, principles and values that you've developed in past lives, and what tests that hurdles that you've set for yourself in this particular lifetime. So I thank you for your attentiveness here, and I look forward to working further with you should you decide to go on with the job. Tick the like box if you like this particular video, and leave a comment, because that helps others to also understand what's going on here. It's such an exciting time that all of us are living through, and we are moving into a new age of Aquarius. Thank you.